seen a lame man walk? Ever heard a dumb man talk? Never seen a blind man see? I promise you a change is here. Ever seen a canceled debt? Ever seen all the poor get fed? Ever seen a prisoner set free? I promise you a change is here. Change is here. Change is me, my Lord. Change is can you hear me now? Church, can you hear me now? Ever seen a broken heart made whole? Ever seen an orphan find a home? Ever seen the weak find the strength? I promise you a change is made. Ever seen the sick get healed? Ever seen a mystery revealed? Ever seen a death man raised? I promise you a change is made.
Hey, everybody! What is up? It is time. It is time once again for the Big C and Bigger T podcast. I'm your boy, Bigger T. That's because I'm bigger. So there.
Looking is the clever name.
Pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
And my man, as always, my best friend from the 6th grade. We've been doing life together or from a distance or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Through Marco Polo, through text, through phone, whatever else. We used to sleep on the same waterbed in junior high. And
We did. That happened.
And that was, yeah, we won't. Anyway. Clint Clark, how you doing, buddy?
Man, you know, you think about that. You were like my first friend that like really would come over, spend the night, hang out.
Nice.
We would annoy Tom and Sue.
Yeah.
And we'd annoy all of them. And yeah, we'd talk on the phone. Back when people would do that. Now you talk on the phone, it's weird. Like, you're like, what are you doing? It's just text me.
Well, see, I'm still a phone talker. You know this.
Yeah, because we had a long conversation last night. We won't get into all of it, but
I mean, I'm still a phone caller. Like I'll, you know, especially when I'm driving, I'll be like, who have I not had a phone conversation with in a long time? Or at least a, you know, conversation with, whether it's face to face or whatever. And I'll just call them up, people out of the blue. And some people like it. I can tell. Some people don't. You know, some people are like, okay, whatever. Like, what's this person calling me on the phone? We don't do this anymore. I don't care. I'm old school. I'll call you. And if you want to make an excuse to get off the phone with me, I'm fine with that. You know, I'm not going to hate you. But I like to talk. Hey, so I'm doing a podcast, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm a talker. What can I say?
You are a talker. You definitely are. But
well, hey, Clint, you had a fun week.
I did. You know,
last
week we recorded, at least on my end, I recorded the podcast from New Orleans, Louisiana. New Orleans. We Travis, I'm going to tell you an embarrassing story. I shouldn't tell you this.
You know, I'll just put it on the list.
Well, you know, is there any worse feeling than being somewhere like downtown New Orleans when nature calls? Somewhere where there's not a lot of public restrooms.
And if they are, the people that have used them were not.
Yeah.
Like, they're probably not the cleanest people in the world anyway.
No, they're not. So,
and then they're not in their cleanest state of mind when they've used them.
Right. Yeah. It's because you don't just like, well, I kind of have to go and go use a public restroom in downtown New Orleans. So yeah. I mean, I made it. Catastrophe was diverted, but I was getting to the point I was on this podcast that one time when I was like, oh, I ain't gonna make it.
I think I would have tried to get it over by the aquarium. I would guess they would have cleaner restrooms there.
I was by Cafe Du Monde. My wife's a big Cafe Du Monde fan, and I was going to go to the bathroom there, but there was like a gigantic line, and the lady was like, hey, 2 buildings down, there's a bathroom, no wait. And I'm just on a wing and a prayer, Travis. Just going there, just like, ooh.
You got
I
a
think
doctor's appointment to check for any kind of diseases you could have?
no, I've been actually pretty healthy since then.
Good.
Me and you, we talked. We did have a little holy schnockes moment there. The trip in itself was fun, and we'll get to some more of that because I think my activities in New Orleans afterwards, my shopping trip. I think me and you need to talk some boudin. I think we do.
Okay.
But we end up and again going there, and I was like, okay, got my ID, got my bags are packed, I'm ready to sail away. And we get there, they're like, birth certificate. I don't have a birth certificate. I get the ID because they do these things called enhanced IDs and real IDs. I thought they were the same thing. Turns out they are not. So I about didn't make the boat. I had I'm always one of them guys. If I'm the guy that gets there like 3 hours before the plane's supposed to take off. I'm just that guy. Like I'm going to give myself time for stuff to go wrong, and when stuff does go wrong, I've given myself plenty of time to handle, a lot of this, but I'm still freaking out. So being out of both, we have to go over to this side area where we're just in a corral with other people that apparently don't know how to read.
Yeah.
So we have to call. They suggest they call the Department of Vital Records if they'll email it to you. So that being said, the Department of Vital Records did come through.
Nice.
Cost me like 25.
Good people there. Good people there.
Very good people there. The key is when you have a government job like that, if they work at the county clerk's office, the Department of Vital Records, somewhere like that, they are the most underappreciated bunch in the world. And they have the most mundane and boring jobs. So when they do the littlest thing for me, I just try to, like overkill them with kind of like, oh, thank you so much. I know this is very, thank you. Just, you have no idea how much I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And then they emailed me a copy. They mailed me a copy. So
nice.
So yeah, really, they really, really, really came through. So that was good. But
you ever listen to the comedian Nate Bargatze?
Yeah, I have. Yes.
You heard his birth certificate joke?
No, I haven't.
He was talking about that. They needed a copy of his birth certificate. He was traveling or something. He said, why do they give you a birth certificate? Aren't I certificate enough that I was born? Like, aren't I proof enough that I was born? Like, I'm right here. Sorry. Anyway, that made me think.
It wasn't like I had an official copy of it either. Like, literally, they printed it off the computer. I mean, it wasn't. I don't know how hard it would have been to fake.
When I was a kid, my mom gave me a credit card size plastic card it was a replica of my birth certificate, but it was just a small blue credit card size, and I still have that. But the only thing is that's not official for some reason, and so I've still had to go and get for IDs and stuff like that. I've had to go and get an official copy of my birth certificate. I always lose it after I go get one.
I need to break down and just get a passport is what me and the wife both agreed. We need to just break down and just get a passport because, I do want to do.
Yeah. Do it when you don't have a trip planned. That way you're not squeezed for time.
Yeah.
Of course, now they have a place in Hot Springs that does them. And so you get them back a lot sooner than you used to. Like when I first got my passport, it took me, New Orleans was where the closest place that did them. And it took me 6 weeks. And
oh, wow.
I had to expedite mine because my trip was 6 weeks away. So I had to pay extra to have it expedited. Now you can actually drive to Hot Springs, have it done, I think the same day if you wanted to. Or you can get it done within a couple of weeks. I think the time frame's a lot sooner because they've opened more places.
Yeah.
There's your traveling tips from the Big C Bigger T podcast.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm in no position to give anyone traveling tips.
Man, I've done so many trips on mission trips and stuff, man, that man, I could probably give you lots of lots of them, man. I've got it down. I got it down to a science as far as what to wear, what to, pack in your bags, what to carry with you, all that kind of stuff, man. It's what to take, what not to take. It's of course, I started my traveling. My first foreign trip that I took, mission trip wise, was to the Philippines. It was in 2002, in May of 2002, and I was going to the southern Philippines. Well, the Philippines has 7,000 islands, but there's two main islands, and I was going to the main one in the south, Luzon, which I know that means nothing to you, but at the time there was a group of Americans, including two missionaries, that had been kidnapped by Taliban soldiers that were connected to, it was the Abu Sayyaf, which were soldiers that were connected to Osama bin Laden. Okay. And so like we were going into like a bad area. And so like we had every security measure that was going on during that time. I mean, they went through our bags, everything, man. I mean, they this one guy, he tried to bring home they had these little bitty red peppers that would like grow in people's yards, like just like wild peppers, but they were really spicy and really had good flavor to them, but super spicy. And one of my buddies put some in a plastic baggie and put them in wrapped them up in some of his clothes. And they found those and threw them away. He got in trouble for it. Like it was pretty.
Yeah, they didn't exactly check us the best in the world coming back, but I guess they figured because well, there's security getting on the boat too. So I mean, it's a little hard to sneak stuff back on the boat.
One of the worst was we were coming back from Romania, and we flew through Hungary, Budapest. We'd just gone over the border into Romania. And in Hungary, they had this stuff. It was like in remember the old school toothpaste tubes that were like made out of metal though? Like,
oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? They had those kind of things, except it was this pepper sauce. And like they would make this meat and noodle stuff and you would put that in there and mix it in. It was really good flavoring. And so we bought some of that stuff to bring home with us. Well, one of my buddies bought, like 4 things of it. Okay. And he forgot and put them in his carry-on. And it was more than 3 ounces. And they literally made him squeeze that stuff out into the trash can. And right in front of him, like he's crying the whole time. Because like it was so good. Like it was really it was the only thing tasty we ate on that whole trip besides gas station ice cream. Because the food was terrible.
Yeah, well, speaking of crime the whole time, I'm like, I am the Big C Bigger T podcast trivia champion.
You are.
I am. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, I'm looking at what there is to do on the boat because you're on the boat for a good chunk of it. Yeah. There's times that you get off the boat, but for the most part, you're on the boat. So I'm like, ooh, sports trivia. Like, I'm going to go down there and I'm going to play trivia.
Yeah.
So there is this, so you go down to this like big foyer kind of open area. There's a bar there, a bunch of tables. People are playing trivia. You just write it down. It's on the honor system. So there's sports trivia. I'm like, I'm going to go represent.
That's right.
Like, look, I'm carrying. I'm like, I've got the Big C Bigger T badge on my back.
That's right.
I'm ready. Like, let's go.
Show these folks who's boss.
I'm like, I'm going to show them. Like, hey, I'm smart.
That's right.
I'm smart, and I'm not going to go like Robert and
brilliance has entered the room.
Right? Yeah, they just like. I mean, there was when I walked in and sat down, 3 people got up and left. Like, there's no.
That's right. They're like, yep.
No reason to compete.
We've heard of those guys.
The GOAT is here.
Aren't those guys that Paul Feinbaum said,
oh my God. Wow.
I'm going to check that out.
This is the best podcast I've ever seen.
That's right.
I'm going to talk to SEC about getting them their own show.
That's right.
We're basically going to be the guys. We're breaking it here first. We are the replacements for Marty and McGee.
That's right. That's right.
We are. Dude, how awesome would that be? Just to be Marty.
Dude.
Yeah.
I'd just like to be addition to their show. That would be enough.
Yeah. It'd be nice. So, hey, Marty McGee, get our number from Feinbaum. Hit us up.
That's right. Call us up.
Call us up. But so I'm done. Greatness has entered the building. So they asked, they're asking the questions. There's this little old lady. She has to be 117 years old.
Yeah. Just a whippersnapper.
Yeah, just a whippersnapper. Old man wearing a Cincinnati hat, husband. I'm not gonna lie to you. I did not do well in the trivia. Not one. I got 11 out of 20. She got 17 out of 20.
But now we've already talked about this.
Yeah.
To be fair, they did ask a soccer question.
They did ask a soccer question.
Which I'm not going to rag you for missing that.
No. Well, they asked, what was the inner color of an archery goal? There wasn't really any questions that I'm like, oh, I should have known that.
Yeah.
Like I should, the questions I missed were ones I would have figured like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Now I went down not two. I got second, not two. There's another Arkansas fan that got 16 out of 20. I got 14 out of 20.
So an Arkansas fan won it, huh?
Yeah, an Arkansas fan won it. So I was pleased.
The second night.
I mean, you get like basically this medallion that you're like, hey man, I'm pretty sure that got cheated. Can I have a medallion?
Yeah.
They'll just give it to you. So I mean, it's not like they're playing for cash and prizes, and it's on the honor system.
Yeah.
But I'm going to ask you one of the questions I got to ask.
Okay. I'll probably get it wrong. Let's see.
Yeah, I got this one right. So,
okay.
How many home runs in his 3 World Series appearances did Ty Cobb hit?
0.
That is correct. It is 0. The only reason I guessed that because Rufus got me to watch the movie Cobb with Tommy Lee Jones, where he goes, any sissy can hit home runs.
Yeah.
Because anybody can hit home runs.
Yeah.
Think you got anything nice to say about Babe Ruth? Like he ran all right for a fat man.
Yeah. Oh, Ty Cobb was a character, man.
Yeah, he was.
Sharpening those metal cleats up. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah,
well, Clint, let's talk a little baseball first.
Yeah.
Hogs hosted Texas A&M. No, sorry. Mississippi State.
Well, I think we actually went there.
We went to Mississippi State. I don't know where I'm at. Where am I
at? Travis, are you okay?
Where am I at? Hogs went down to Mississippi State. Okay. They took on the dual-handed pitcher on Sunday. Guy that pitches from both sides with both hands. Not at the same time. That'd be difficult.
That'd be weird.
But he'll to right-handed. Huh?
Where do you put it? We have a glove under his chin.
That's right. Yeah. Anyway, but of course they had a great weekend, man, and they injuries are just piling on. We got what's the freshman's name?
Now, for obvious reasons, I did not watch much of this baseball series at all. So,
what's the kid's name? The freshman reliever that's been doing really good.
Wood?
No, the one that's from Arkansas that's hurt now.
Belch.
No, the one that had surgery the other day, had Tommy John surgery.
Oh, I don't know.
Anyway, so we got him hurt. So that's another one to the list. You still got, our last defensive player or position player on the roster this weekend was Josenberger, who was pretty much just put on the roster because all he could do was bunt if they needed someone to come in and pinch in and bunt. That was it. But this team, man, one thing I love about it is they just do whatever it takes to score. Yeah. They're bunting, they're sacrifice flying. They're whatever it takes. Stealing bases. You think about it, Clint. This team is doing what it's doing, okay, and ranked number 3 in the nation. And you have a shortstop and a catcher both hitting under 200 in the lineup. Now, Bolton did hit a little better, did do a little better offensively this weekend. Now, he's been pretty solid defensively. And Parker Rowland's been solid as far as calling games and stuff like that defensively. But they're not giving you much for you offensively, okay? And Parker Rowland does give you a switch hitter, you know. But still, for them to be doing what they're doing, man, you lose your leadoff hitter and Kendall Diggs comes in there and has an awesome weekend. Your outfield's looking solid. Of course, now Mississippi State, they were looking like the Bad News Bears out there, man. They were running into each other, and, you know.
They're not that far removed from being a national championship team, but it's been a rough year for the state of Mississippi in baseball.
Well, they just recently fired their pitching coach, which not long ago he was a pretty hot commodity in college baseball. And you go to a point where you're firing him in the middle of the season, you know. Now they got South Carolina this weekend. South Carolina, I think, is ranked, you know, they have college baseball has all kinds of rankings, but most of the ones that matter, they're ranked about 6th.
Yeah, I would say Arkansas, South Carolina, both top 5, 6, both super regional host capability. I mean, it's a big weekend. South Carolina coming in. I know Daniel Labrador will be pumped. He's a dirty Gamecock fan. And we still got, I do believe we got Vanderbilt left on the schedule. So we've got 2 teams that we mess around can sweep us.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be honest. You got 2 teams, you want to play in Omaha. These are the type of series that you want to play in. You come to Arkansas to pitch and bat, play in these type of series.
Yeah.
Man, is this the best coaching job you think Dave Van Horn has done?
I think so, but
this team's a mash unit. You lose your number 1 starter. You've been without Taggart most of the season.
And you got to remember, he pieced this team together. You know, we talk about transfer portal. Okay. How many of these guys were on the roster last year?
You've got 1 returning infielder.
Yeah.
Peyton Stovall. And I don't think, did Stovall even play second last year? I think he played first, didn't he?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you move him to second, you've lost your entire left side of the infield. Jalen Battles and Caden Wallace are gone. You lose Robert Moore. I mean, all 3 drafted. Got a new catcher, or boy Michael Turner.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got 1 returning infielder. Now, that being said, Slavens has played a lot of baseball.
Well, and then you got your pitchers, man. Your Dylan Carter's the one that's hurt. Sorry. That name finally hit me.
Yeah.
He's the one just had Tommy John surgery. Which he'd been doing awesome. He's a local kid, been doing great. Gage Wood is still looking good at that closer. Fausch, I think maybe he's wanting to maybe use Tiger as a starter if he could get Fausch to come in as a closer. I'm not sure if Fausch has enough movement on his ball to be a closer, though. I think Fausch just pitches heat from what I've kind of seen, but I may be wrong there. But we asked Parker. I asked Parker Rowland when he was on. I asked him, "Do you think Fausch will end up being a closer?" And he said he thought so because he throws so much heat. So you never know. If Fausch can get his bearings, and you got him and Wood being a 2-headed, closer, bring one of them in, as a setup guy and the other one in to close it out.
Yeah.
And then if you can add Tiger to be McIntyre, he's looked good following Tiger the last 2 times. Tiger's come in for to get his rehab starts, and then McIntyre's come in and really looked good following him up, and getting some long stretches. And Diggs has looked good at the bat. It's Callie's looked pretty good. Jason Jones played some outfield. He's been a third baseman and second baseman, but he played some outfield this week because they were so short on outfielders. But you're hoping you get Tiger back full strength. You get Josenberger back full strength, hopefully soon. You get Wagner back full strength, hopefully pretty soon. And you get is it Slavens or Stovall who's been out? Stovall. Okay, so you get him back, hopefully. And this team can go, all those guys are supposed to be ready by tournament time. We'll see. But like you said, they got some tests coming up. Some teams that are going to test them. So we'll see what happens.
They do. But, man, and I'm not to force a hard segue here, but did you hear about, Alabama's baseball coach?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Dude, that could have been our Holy Smikey's moment, and they had a little gambling outbreak on the Lions football team. What are these guys thinking?
I know.
That are making that much money.
Yeah.
To bet on games.
Yeah. Their own games.
Yeah.
Rumor is he bet on LSU against Alabama.
Well, that's just a good bet. But no, but but it's so easy to cheat from that manager's position, that head coach of baseball position, because just leave a guy out there too long.
Yep.
Just
yep.
Thought he was due.
Yep. Or yeah. There's a lot of ways you can make some changes, make some differences, in a game. And
yeah.
And that's the thing, man. This sports betting, I don't think we've seen yet what it's going to end up doing to sports, but we're going to see more and more of that stuff.
Well, if you look at FanDuel, it's a lot of and stuff like that. I haven't got on it, but I talked to some people that do it. It's like prop bets.
Yeah.
I had a guy the other night that was the bet was on there, and he said he'd have won $2,500 for the hit. Would LeBron get 4 dunks?
Yeah.
And LeBron would have got 4 dunks. How hard is it to bet LeBron doesn't get 4 dunks and then don't get 4 dunks?
Yeah.
You get that next dunk, do a layup. You can do it now and it not necessarily be throwing games.
No, you're right, and that's the thing. It's got its parts to where it's no big deal. For the general person, it's not going to be a big deal, right? It's not for the general person. It's not going to be. It's going to be just for fun. They're going to see those prop bets. They're going to see, they were talking on Drive Time today about, that Saracen Casino, they advertise on there and they talk to them a lot, and they talk about some of the prop bets they have. And, you can bet on what a baseball player's first at bat's going to end up being, so you could say, and, the Yankees are playing the Orioles, and, what's Aaron Judge going to do in his first at bat? If he, and there's odds on if he strikes out, there's odds on if he pop fly, there's odds on if he hits a home run or whatever. Stuff like that's just fun. It's, entertainment, whatever. Okay. I'm not talking about the morality of it or anything like that. I'm talking about just doing it, right? What I'm talking about is with gambling, like with anything, like with lots of things in life, there's people tend to take things too far. And that's what the coach at Alabama did. He got too greedy. And there's a good chance that he's got a gambling issue in his personal life.
Yeah.
And when that happens to somebody, you know, it affects their whole, just like with alcohol or any other addiction in someone's life. Okay. Some people can have something in their life and it doesn't affect their regular life, right? It doesn't impact them. They can go through life. They can, with alcohol, people can drink and it doesn't affect their regular life. It doesn't impact whatever. And it's the same with gambling. Some people can go and, gamble and it doesn't affect them. It's entertainment. It's part of their life. I mean, heck, I got a sister that's runs a poker room in Vegas. Okay. And she went there because she wanted to be a professional poker player. I mean, it's part of, that's how she's made a living for years, was before she started running the poker room, was she did well enough at poker to live off of.
Yeah.
And so there's those people, but then there's people that it becomes so much a part of their life that they don't know boundaries. Okay. And that coach at Alabama lost his boundaries. And what I'm saying is we're going to see more of that because it is so prevalent. Okay. That's just what's going to happen. I mean, that's with anything, right? I mean, when alcohol became more legalized, you saw more issues with drinking and driving and stuff like that, just because it's more prevalent. It's easier to get.
Yeah.
That's just the way life is. That's just the way, when people can do something easier. And now with gambling, it's all it's right here.
Well, and I think me well. No, like I love going to the casino. Like I mean, there was a casino on the boat, and I'll find me like the little video blackjack, and I'll bet $1 a hand.
Mm-hmm.
And just entertain myself for a little bit. I think I lost $40 on the boat. Just fiddle farting around. I got it up to I got it up to where I was up $30, and then I lost it. But I choose to do that to entertain myself. But when you're betting on your team, or you're making these prop bets on FanDuel that could affect your game. Now, I'm not sure exactly what the Detroit did, but I think it was something along those lines.
Yeah, when you're crossing the line and it's something that could get you in trouble, and that's what he did. I mean, he crossed the line, or he wouldn't have been fired. So, you feel for Alabama, you feel for their players, but he's the one who made the mistake, and it's going to be hard for him to find a job. He'll have to probably go back to high school or maybe a small college somewhere. But he can work his way back. We're a forgiving society.
And you do something like that, you lose your buyout. These coaches, I mean, for good or bad, you got Arkansas. We pay Burt not to coach. We pay Chad Morris not to coach. You got all these coaches, but these coaches have these, these silver lining, the golden toy parachutes. It's like, oh man. They got fired. They got paid $5 million though, not to coach.
Yeah.
It just,
when you do something like that, it nullifies that contract for sure.
Yeah. I mean, like Arkansas, we got away without paying Petrino.
Yeah.
Tried to get away without paying Brett, but we had to.
Yeah.
And we signed. We should have had to. Yeah. They tried to get, because they were saying, well, he was only making $50,000 as a consultant. They were underpaying him, so we're not going to pay him. Well, you're the idiots that signed the contract.
Yeah.
So you owe him that money, and so you should have paid it that way. I ain't saying he was a good coach, but you signed a contract saying if we fire you, we're going to pay you this.
Yep.
So
now, changing the subject here, let's go to basketball.
No son of mine's going to play shooty hoops.
Still waiting on Ron Holland, the kid that committed to Texas, former teammate of one Anthony Black. It was down between Arkansas and Texas and the NBA. And he chose Texas, and then he decommitted from Texas, and now they're saying it's between Arkansas and the NBA still. We still haven't heard for sure on that. In the meantime, Makhel Mitchell has come saying he's staying. Okay, now his brother entered the portal, and I don't think we've heard where he's going yet. But there was a lot of, they've played together their whole career, so there was a lot of suspicion that they would go somewhere together again. But sounds like they're going to be their own man.
Well, one of them started, and the other ones came off the bench because they played the same position. So they take each other's minutes. So I mean, you can get it.
And I could see, and I could also see just wanting to strike out on your own a little bit. Nothing wrong with that. I'd applaud them for that. So, but here's the deal, Clint. People are always trying to read into the Twitter post on these commitments, on these stuff, right? Well, Makai Mitchell, he did a really good looking graphic where he's dribbling a basketball and he's got his signature underneath it. Sharp looking, looks like, official. Okay. And he tweeted that out saying, I'm pretty much saying I'm staying. I forget how he worded it or whatever. And then the official Razorback Twitter, basketball Twitter, posted it. So everybody was like, oh, it's official then, because the ones that have left that have said they were coming back before, like a Darian Ford,
right?
They've never posted, like the official Razorback Twitter never posted anything about them. Okay. It was like Darian Ford did that video of him riding a horse, but he did that himself. Official Razorback Twitter never retweeted it or anything like that. Right. Well, this one, the official Razorback Twitter retweeted it. However, shortly after that, they went back and deleted their retweet. Okay. So, tomorrow is the deadline to enter the portal for basketball. Okay. So, a Tennessee player entered the portal today who was a stud player for them, or at least a big recruit for them. I don't know if he was a stud player for sure or not, but I know he was a highly rated type of guy. What do you think? Think there's more changes to come?
I don't know. I think you're seeing Arkansas is pretty full, but Ricky Council was a pretty last minute thing last year.
Yeah. Now here's the other thing: you have Walsh and Devo still out there, right?
Right.
And the NBA, or at least some sort of paying league, a possibility for them. But also on a couple of the transfers have done the same thing Devo and them have done. A couple of the guys that have committed to Arkansas as transfers have also entered their name into the NBA draft, but are not signing with an agent. So they're keeping their eligibility alive. So we still stand a chance to lose, one or two of them to professional ball. I'm not sure which ones that is, but anyway.
And also, this is just a nightmare right here. This is Darian Ford's offer list. Transfer Darian Ford. Mm-hmm. Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Missouri, Mississippi State, Florida, Auburn, Vandy, Alabama, as well as Kansas, Houston, and Baylor.
Yeah.
So you got to wonder how salty he's going to be. Because,
I think I don't know about salty, but he's going to be motivated.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Ole Miss had so many players just back in the day that Arkansas just didn't want. They had Keith Carter, who's doing a great job as athletic director there.
Anthony Boone,
Anthony Boone,
Little Flanagan.
Stomp up and down on the Razorback.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So you got an Arkansas.
Hey, I got a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Our buddy Joey asked me this the other day.
Sure.
Would you have taken Keith Carter over Pat Bradley?
Probably.
On that Nolan team.
Probably, I think.
With Kareem Reed, Derek Hood, you got
Bradley's a better shooter, but I think Keith's more athletic. My 2 cents.
I think Keith could have done more defensively too.
Yeah.
See, I would have taken Keith. Pat Bradley's one of the best players the school's ever had, but I think Keith would have been one of the best players the school's ever had too.
Yeah.
And look at the way Ole Miss feels about him. We feel about him at Arkansas. When we feel about Pat Bradley, the same way they feel about Keith Carter. And if he would have been a homeboy, Arkansas boy coming, not that I don't appreciate Pat Bradley. Okay. But Keith was just more athletic. And I'd love to have seen what he could have done, because he could set up and shoot out there also, but he could also cut to the basket. And I think he could have caught some alley-oops from Kareem Reed.
Yeah. You know who he didn't dunk on? Your boy right here. There you go.
That's right. He couldn't dunk on Clint Clark, but,
No, he tried.
He tried.
But I was not.
Instead, he shot 5 3-pointers in my face.
Yeah. There's nothing you can do about it.
But, I did score twice on him.
Yeah. Well,
and he did say, "This guy's killing me."
We were pretty good rec league players back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rec league. We're good rec league. Go down the
I was pretty good, but I was more of a shock value.
Yeah.
Because they're like, this fat guy can actually play. like we thought it was a joke. This guy can actually do something on a basketball court. What do you know? But yeah. It was I had that White Man Can't Jump Woody Harrelson surprise factor.
Yeah, I was watching. They're remaking that. The movie doesn't look half bad.
Yeah, I want to see it. I'm
gonna check it out one night.
That was one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
So, I want to see what it's like. So now, football wise, we got a commitment from a big time commitment from a linebacker from Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Young man that, of course, played against us this last year. He's, I want to say 6'2" or 6'3", weighs 245 pounds.
Yeah.
Man, that linebacker room with him now, you throw him in there with Pooh Paul and with Greer, man, that's a good squad right there. Okay. That's a good looking group.
Yeah, they got Marco Avant. They've got some guys they like in that room.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to add another defensive tackle. We had a tight end decommit, then recommit.
Yeah, Grum. We lost a Muskrat. Did you hear about that guy?
No, I didn't.
He was an offensive lineman from Tulsa.
Oh yeah.
We were trying to get him, but I think he committed to Auburn. His last name's Muskrat. I thought that was cool. But yeah, Grum was the kid from North Texas, I believe, and really good receiving tight end, and decommitted, then came back and said, "Oh, just kidding, I'm committing." So that tightened up that that was probably our weakest spot on offense, and it made that a much better room.
Right. Yeah, I think that really solidified that tight end room. I'm with you. I know we said this before the podcast, and we haven't said it on there. Safety's the biggest need right now.
If you listen to Trey Biddy especially talk, let's give him credit because he's one that's plugged in the most. He said the other day, like on Drive Time, he said when he looks down the roster, at every position, there's guys that he thinks will at least compete to be all SEC. He said, I'm not saying at every position there's going to be someone that's all SEC. He's saying there's at least guys that'll compete to be all SEC.
Right, yeah.
Every position except safety. He said he doesn't feel like there's anybody at safety right now on the roster that you would say, watch this guy, he could be all SEC safety. And that is, you think about it, I thought that was a good way to look at your roster and see, how good you think your roster is going to be, and that is concerning because that is such an important position.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you can get a lot of help from your defensive linemen and the pressure you can put on with pass rush makes a huge difference. You can make a safety look really good, and a cornerback look really good if you can, like in that Cincinnati game last year, our safeties and corners, we wasn't worried about them very much in that game. And a lot of it was because our linebackers and our defensive linemen were getting to their quarterback. We had some sacks against him, but we were pressuring him every stinking play. And he was making bad throws because he had pressure on him all the time. And that can make a difference, but you still would like to have those guys back there. You need a Vakil Vaughn, a Kenoy Kennedy. I'm talking about some guys that went on to play pro, but still.
So, Travis, do you know, is there anybody they're really on in the portal as far as safeties go?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there is or not.
I know they've been looking at another defensive tackle. They've had a couple.
Yeah.
I'd like to add a little bit more there, but when you really
I know they got some scholarships available.
Yeah.
I know they got 2 or 3 scholarships available to use. It's just finding a guy. It's finding somebody that they can plug into that spot, and I don't know if they have that guy. Last year they were able to get what's his name from Georgia?
Brainy.
Yeah,
isn't he back?
Ooh.
I think he is. They got him and McLaughlin back. They've got some pieces there. I just think they're going to have to move them around.
Yeah.
You got to figure, they've got those 2 transfers from Baylor, and they got Hudson Clark back.
But I think they're corners. I think the Baylor guys are corners or nickels.
Yeah, and then
I think right now Trey Biddy, I think, is talking about it being the starters would probably be Jaden Johnson and Malik Chavis, whatever, however you say his name. That those 2 would be probably your starters at those safety positions.
Yeah.
Which those don't excite you too much. You got Hudson Clark back there. Say what you will about him, he just kind of tends to get things done, though.
Yeah, no, he's a reliable, solid player. I think they're going to hit more this year in practice, and I think it's going to make a big difference in the tackling.
I hope so, man. I really do. I'm a big proponent of you need to hit a little more. And
that's why I was like, he didn't fancy up the spring game. Like, no, we're going to scrimmage. We're going to hit. We're going to play ball.
Yeah.
So I was pleased with that. So
yeah.
So
yeah, it seems like Sam's understanding that better.
Yeah.
And so that's a good thing.
Sam Pittman's growing in the head coaching role. So like we saw some growing pains last year, and I think he's figuring it out.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, man. Definitely.
Dude, we almost made it through another one.
Yeah.
Almost done it. I do have a question for you though.
Okay. What's your question?
What you watching?
Dude, right now I'm heavy into American Idol.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you watched Iam Tongi?
No.
Okay, you need to look up. It's spelled IMIAM, and if you just type that into YouTube, there'll be a lot of stuff come up about him. Okay, he's a Tongan kid. He's 18 years old. He used to live in Hawaii, and in his tryout, they were like, "Why don't you live in Hawaii anymore?" He's like, "Price out of paradise." He said, "Just cost them too much to live there."
Yeah.
And so they ended up moving to like Seattle or somewhere. But in the original, his tryout, he sang a song. I think I told you all about it. Monsters by James Blunt. And it's one of those that just gets you right. But well, first of all, Clint, you're going to see the kid and you're thinking,
Yeah, your child.
yeah, this kid's related to Travis.
Yeah.
Like literally just get on your phone right now and just type in in one word I am in the YouTube real quick and just look at him when he comes up.
I'm just Googling.
Yeah. And anyway, he but like this last week they did but he's such a humble kid, man, and he's just just has this personality about him. He's just laid back. He'll turn a lot of songs into kind of a Hawaiian kind of.
Oh yeah, that's definitely your kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm just kind of rooting for him. I'm not voting,
Yeah.
I probably should as much as I watch it, but
You
he's made top 5. And so
yeah.
we'll
So
see. I don't necessarily want to root on I don't necessarily want him to win because the people who win get stuck in that contract and they got to do what the American Idol people tell them to do, for a while. I'd rather him get like second, and that way he can sign with whoever he wants to sign with and kind of make his own choices, But this last week he did Lionel Richie and Katy Perry were in London for the coronation.
Right.
So they had Alanis Morissette and Ed Sheeran. And they did Alanis songs, and then they did Ed Sheeran songs as duets. And their songs aren't really the best for American Idol. Like they wasn't the best fit for something like that.
Yeah.
But he did one called Guardian, and it was Alanis had wrote it to her child after she had her first child or whatever, saying, I'm going to watch out for you. I'm going to take care of you. Well, Iam sang it to his mom, which, if you know the story, his dad died a few months ago. And so he's kind of writing it to his mom saying, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to watch out for you. It's an 18-year-old kid, dude. Okay. He's just a knucklehead 18-year-old, but it was so good. And the fans are just going nuts for him. Like he's real understated. He doesn't get all crazy up there, but like the fans, like Ryan Seacrest can't even talk when he gets up there to interview him afterwards. Like, anyway, it's fun to watch. So I'm rooting for him. And a couple of the other ones I thought would do well have gotten voted off, but that happens. But anyway, I've been watching that. Next Level Chef. I know you and I both watched that. And so that's been fun to watch. It's getting down to some of my favorites on that.
I just realized that I'm a week behind on that because I was on the boat.
Yeah.
You know what happened to me? I end up they don't have many channels on the cruise ship, like at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I end up watching a lot of Food Network.
Yeah.
All right. So Guy's Grocery Game. I
love that. Yeah.
I'd never watched it before. That's like, okay, I get it now. So it's a good show. So Guy's Grocery Games. I've I started watching that on the boat. Started watching a little bit of Bob's Burgers. I'd never watched it before. Little Adult Swim. So it was a good time. So
Yeah, Guys Grocery Games is one of my favorites.
yeah,
It's one of those shows I can just put on because there's so many episodes.
right.
I can just put it on and just let it be
So
my
many people
background
came on
noise.
that show that you're like, oh my goodness. Like Richard Blaze was on the show as a contestant,
Yeah.
the host of Next Level Chef. So it's a good time.
Yeah, they'll and he'll have people on there, like he'll get some of the chefs to be contestants. Have you seen Tournament of Champions?
No, but I mean, there was. I was watching a little bit of it because they had a bunch of them. They're just playing
Dude,
nonstop. So I got to go back and watch it.
there's like 3 or 4 seasons of Tournament of Champions now.
Yeah,
Dude, you talk about like it's the best chefs in the world, and they bring them in there and do a bracket style.
yeah.
And he has this machine, this thing, or randomizer is what he calls it, and he spins it, and it gives you the meat, like some of the sides, vegetables, or whatever, and then like different things you got to use to cook it, and different style of dinner you got to do. So if it's like a steakhouse dinner or something like that, and then how long you got to cook it. Like it's a fun show to watch because like it's got some of the best Food Network folks and like some of the old, like it's even brought back some of the old Iron Chef folks and those kind of folks and brought them on there, and it's pretty cool. Like it's a pretty intense because I mean it's like the best people doing it, and the judging's blind, so like
Oh yeah.
two guys that are watching the person cook the whole time there, and then they describe it to the judges when they bring the judges in.
Yeah. Yeah, they do it similar on Beat Bobby Flay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got a lot of Food Network on the boat, and
but what always gets me on Beat Bobby Flay was they say it's not decided on who's doing what or anything like that, but like the person that comes in to do him to beat Bobby Flay or whatever that ends up against him will be like, say, a Filipino cook and does like some traditional Filipino,
right, yeah.
And then 2 of the judges own Filipino restaurants. You're like, well, what if the other guy he was going against that was Italian? What if he would have won?
Yeah.
Would you have had Italian judges on here? What?
Maybe I have to some judges.
Hey, we got some Filipino restaurant owners that are going to judge this Italian deal. Anyway, funny stuff. But yeah, those Food Network shows, man. Have you watched that Alex?
Oh, I haven't watched it. I was watching her on a little bit of Superstar. Alex Takes on America.
The Parking Lot Wars. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I watched some of that. Yeah,
that's pretty interesting. It's kind of cheesy.
That is so fake.
Yeah,
that is so fake. So.
Yeah, it probably is, but it's interesting because, like, they'll go buy groceries and they'll get nothing but like coffee stuff, and then they gotta, then they have to go back and buy something else or whatever.
We'll give you $5 for your ice cream. No.
Yeah. But anyway, well, dude, it's been a good one.
Another one bites the dust, my friend.
Another one bites 111, all ones.
111.
111. 111. So
y'all like, share, and subscribe.
Share, subscribe to the channel. We need more subscribers.
Yeah, we like our subscribers.
Yeah, go to YouTube. Subscribe.
If you subscribe to this, Travis will personally come over. He'll fly to your house wherever you live and give you a foot rub.
Maybe not, but
maybe. Only
one
to find out. That's to subscribe.
I do think. Anyway, seriously, folks, like, subscribe, share, let your folks know about it. Share with people. Let them know about what we do here. We got some guests booked. Looking forward to. So we'll have a good time with them, hopefully pretty soon. Clint, it's been another one, dude.
Made it through.
Made it through.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come. Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come. Listen, that's why I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Listen, I wake up in the morning, I bow my head to pray. Mama told me if I don't, ain't nothing gonna change. These prayers breaking up hard ground so I can sow the seed. Ain't afraid of no aches and pain. Lord knows I gotta follow his lead. That's why I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come.